We are looking at a 1960 Chevrolet C10, and Dave, why don't you step up here and tell us what this car looked like, or this truck looked like when you first saw it.
Well, the customer brought it in, wanted to do a total frame off thing, so he brought it in as a rolling chassis. I totally disassembled the truck, wiring, anything inside, interior, motor, tranny, take it all apart, send it to the body shop at that point, have the body shop paint everything to make it a lot more accessible, fill holes in the firewall, that type of stuff. And then when they got done painting, then they sent it back to me for reassembly.
So what was the customer's goal when they brought it in here? It was not even a running truck, it sounds like, was it?
No, it never ran for us, and it was a take it all apart, put it back together for something that he could drive every day for long distances and still be a trustworthy vehicle and be kind of cool at the same time.
Okay, so that sounds like a pretty involved project. You said that was a year ago or so?
It was at least a year ago that we finished it, and it took probably the better part of a year to do everything, working in between cars that we still had to work on a day-to-day basis.
Sure, okay, so what did you do?
Basically took everything apart, took the drivetrain out. He wanted a new motor and transmission installed at the same time, and all new wiring harness. Well, he didn't start off wanting a wiring harness, but when I brought to his attention of having a new vehicle and then having 40-year-old wiring, that's not a good combination.
Right.
He also wanted to upgrade with cooling fans, air conditioning, all of the stuff that would put more of a load on the system. So at that point we talked to the owner and said you would be money ahead to do a wiring harness, especially while the truck is all apart, because it's much easier to install a wiring harness on a vehicle that's disassembled than it is for one that's put together.
Sure, yeah.
So we did basically all of that and then got it running and put it all together and assembled it, and then put stuff in like seat belts and stuff to make it safe and that he could trust to drive everywhere.
Okay.
So it turned into a very nice driver. He lives a couple counties away, and he puts a pretty good amount of time on it, driving it 100 miles, 150 miles at a time. And so it had to be something that would be trustworthy, and that's what he was looking for.
Okay, so let's pop the hood on this.
Sure.
And have a look what you ended up doing. I immediately see the big power brake booster.
Yep, we upgraded the brakes, put a higher amp alternator in it, added air conditioning, a little bit larger radiator, all the modern stuff to make it trustworthy.
Sure, okay, that's a 350 cubic inch?
Yes.
Small block Chevy. Okay, and what transmission is behind it?
700 R4.
700 R4. He went for overdrive.
Yes.
Nice.
Since he was doing a lot of highway driving, he wanted that extra gear.
Yep, makes sense. I mean, there's a mixture of beauty and yet practicality in this whole thing.
And you won't pull up next to another one at a stoplight, which is very cool.
So yeah, it's a beautiful truck. For a year of driving and driving back and forth in the country, it's not showing much wear, that's for sure.
No, and I mean, he does take care of it, but it had to, that was kind of, basically it was a new truck when he got done with it. Paint, body, drivetrain, everything else. So it'd just be like buying something new and taking off and driving it.
Yeah.
He said he's had zero issues with it. It's been good.
That's fantastic. Well, we're going to take a look around here. Let's look in the interior.
Its individual gauges are all aftermarket. And what he had no gauges when he came in, no working gauges.
Okay.
So it's just one of those other things that we talked to him about upgrading and being able to monitor all the vitals. And that we impressed upon him how important that was. And he was a customer that as long as you could explain to him why it made sense, he was all for it.
He was for it.
We put a tilt steering column in it just for comfort.
Sure, right? Okay.
Vintage air, AC, power steering, power brakes, all the regular stuff that you want.
And a comfortable split seat. Man, I can see why he'd enjoy driving this around. So what was the original color, do you remember?
Not much of anything. Kind of a pale silver, pale blue, a little bit like what we have now, but just in spots, just body showing through and everything. Yeah, we put the wooden bed in it also, and that's a nice upgrade for it. And he's got the gas tank down there, so we took the gas tank filler off the side and put it inside the bed.
Oh, interesting.
Which is kind of a nice touch. That way the fender doesn't have a gas door in it.
Right. Absolutely. And you also kind of cleaned up the way the tailgate
Yeah, the
would
body
otherwise
shop
work.
did some cool locks on there, so it doesn't have the chains that that kind of scratch everything up. So nice work.
I think of a chain and a bicycle tube around the chain.
Yeah,
to keep the rattling
a
down.
combination of two shops working together, making everything work to make the customer what he needed.
Yeah, so there's definitely some coordination with the body shop.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep, they did a nice job.
Very good. So is this a body shop you work with a lot?
We have worked with them in the past, and we have worked with them since.
Yeah,
So
okay.
did some nice work.
Yeah. Well, this is great. Thanks for showing me around, Dave. This is a really cool truck.